The views and opinions expressed by the guests, callers, and hosts on this and all Rense Radio Network programs do not necessarily reflect or agree with those of the network, its commercial sponsors, its radio station affiliates, or internet broadcast platforms. In these controversial times, we believe the First Amendment and freedom of the press are absolutely essential to the survival of our nation. Thank you. And now, enjoy the program.
Gerald Celente night, and our good friend of many years has stepped into the year 2015, as all the rest of us, and is watching things unfold. False flag operation, terrorism, trained in Syria, what's really going on in France. Police are being executed in the streets now by disgruntled Americans, to put it mildly. Police, in turn, are executing disgruntled Americans and people who aren't particularly unhappy, as is obvious if you follow the news. It's clear we are on the precipice of remarkable race war potential. This can be triggered at any time by the controllers. We're really sitting on a very, very pointy surface, not comfortable at all. I don't know where it's going to go, but I think 2015 is going to be a very difficult, a very rough year for an awful lot of people. And the master of trends himself, of course, has his newest projections out, and we're pretty close together, almost on the exact same page. How are you, Gerald?
I'm very well, thank you, considering all that's going on and how sad it all is.
It really is. It really is. I was trying to think of something fun, and for some reason, you remember when you were a kid, we used to watch TV in black and white, and then there was the great actor, Sheldon Leonard.
Oh, sure, I remember that.
Nobody talks about him. He's forgotten. He was wonderful.
There were so many wonderful ones.
Oh,
Bill
man.
Silvers.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, one cat after another. Groucho Marx.
Groucho, You Bet Your Life.
I remember, Steve Allen. There's one smart guy after another.
And they were smart,
too,
right?
We got these guys that people think are funny, like Stewart and Colbert, and then they're nothing. They're zeros.
Well, even worse, this Jimmy Kimmel and Jimmy Fallon, the Tonight Show successor. Look, Johnny was the king. There'll never be another Johnny. These guys are cut out cardboard, vapid morons. There's nothing there. And the sad part of it is, the audience laughs on cue. They're idiots.
Yep.
Idiots.
Yep.
I'll tell you.
It's a whole different world.
You may have missed him because I just got onto this about 4 or 5 months ago, 6 months ago. The Late Show, after a very tired and worn out David Letterman, is this guy named Craig Ferguson, who's now off the air. His last show was a week ago or so. He was witty, humorous, in his own way. I feel the best since Carson. And
really?
he was there running 10 years on the Late Show after Letterman. And I guess he came to the end of his contract. He's giving hints he'll be back. The guy was incredibly creative. You could see him thinking on his feet, funny, smart, bright, great-looking set, tremendous rapport with the audience, completely different than any of these other idiots who are out there. Completely different. He was gold. And I hope he comes back soon. 50 years old, I think he's way young enough, so we'll see. Craig Ferguson.
I remember back in the day, when I was a young guy, when everybody, you fell asleep watching Johnny Carson.
You sure did.
It was a ritual.
Well, it was a 90-minute show in the beginning for years.
Yeah, oh yeah, and I mean the funny, and of course I'm up here in Colonial Kingston. And we're right near the Borscht Belt, where a lot of these people came from.
Yeah.
The Shecky Greens, one after another.
They did.
Yeah, they were a riot.
That was their training ground. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So it's actually we were talking about this 2 weeks ago as we were finalizing the trends, and I said to the crew, America has no vibe. There's no vibe out there.
No, there isn't.
Dead.
That's really well said.
Yeah, it's on empty. It's Justin Bieber, Miley Cyrus, whoever her name is. I mean, it's Obama, it's Bush. I mean, I have to tell you though, I'm so excited, Jeff. We're moving into the presidential race of 2016,
yeah.
And I'm so thrilled that it might be either Jeb Bush or Hillary Clinton.
I can hear the awe and happiness and anticipation.
Well, yeah,
in your
we're
voice.
a nation of 320 million people.
And these are the best two we got.
These are our best and brightest.
They're the best
what
two.
What a wonderful country it is.
And we got to go through this bullshit for 2 years. 2 years.
2 years. And the prostitutes keep pumping them up like these are decent human beings that we should look up to.
Exactly. Now
it's disgusting. It's a sham. This is no democracy. It's a bunch of elites putting their. I've said this over and over and over and over again. If you want to see what has destroyed America, you could count it up in 6 words: Harvard, Princeton, Yale, bullets, bombs, and banks.
Amen, brother. Amen.
You don't need any more proof.
No.
And you know why? Because they are better than us. I went to Harvard.
Just ask them.
I went to Yale.
You're privileged.
Yeah, I sucked up, bowed down, was born on third base, and thought I hit a triple. My name's Mitt Romney.
I love that one. Yeah, I'm named Mitt. Now, Slick Willie, by the way, he'll wiggle out of this one just in time to come.
Another one, huh? Another
scandal. Yeah.
And I love it too. They got that dirtbag Dershowitz in this too.
That is the most fun thing I've seen in the news in a long time.
Did you see that little Slimer squirm on the news?
No, I missed it.
That Dershowitz?
Yeah, he's threatening to sue all the attorneys who are going to sue him.
He is suing.
He's a real piece of crap, that guy.
Oh, disgusting guys. They're all disgusting human beings.
Yeah, and they trade in 13 and 15-year-old girls. That's pretty classy. Pretty classy.
Yep.
Well, here we are. Epstein, his little black book was stolen by his houseboy, who 60 years old, who suddenly came down with cancer and died 3 days ago. And they can't find the book. So,
I know.
We know the game.
Yep.
All too well.
And it's been going on for centuries.
Yeah. Well, it's amusing to watch the revolving door here. They come and they go. They come back again and again. The neocons, they come back again and again. Now, in France, it's the same thing. Little Sarko is now back leading the opposition. The little creepy Zionist gangster over there, Sarkozy, is back leading the opposition. Hollande is saying we need détente with Russia. We've got to drop all this crap. These sanctions are doing no good. And the EU doesn't like that. And look what happens right away.
Hollande. Yeah, I mean, because they're losing money, they're going into the crapper.
Exactly.
And now Europe is, because Europe does a lot of trade with Russia. Russia's now cut off a lot of Europeans that were particularly in agriculture.
They
had that big ship deal with France that they won't deliver the ship that's costing them billions
There's
of dollars.
Two of them. They're Mistrals. They're helicopter aircraft carriers, and they're sitting there. I think that Hollande will release them. And I wouldn't want to be Hollande because they kill people if they get in the way. He's really bucking the trend there.
Yeah, he's going to fold.
They usually do.
Little nothing. You see what they're doing now? They're calling another new war on terror over there now.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, and this is the guy that also invaded Mali. He can't get over that French Indochina trip, you know.
Well, they're down there protecting uranium and yellowcake.
That's right. Right at the Niger border over there.
You know. Gerald knows. That's why I always beg you, please go to trendsresearch.com and sign up. You're going to get the best
also,
of the best.
Jeff, you know, we had a conference here in December.
Yeah.
And we had, we filled up, and we released the top trends of 2015. It's a 5.5-hour conference, high quality broadcast,
HD,
and people can purchase that as well.
They can be there. I don't travel anymore. I just won't.
No, they could get it, online.
Yeah. I mean, I'd love to come back and actually, if I were to be able to go to anything anymore, you would be right at the top of the list.
Well, listen, I don't like to travel anymore either. I mean, it made it so, as I said, there's no vibe and no fun. I'm a New Yorker, I can tell by the accent, I'm a guy I was born in the Bronx, and I used to go, Times Square now in New Year's Eve is like a war zone.
Yeah.
It's a war zone.
Yeah,
and you know what it is? These terrorists are gonna come down the East River, I told you, and they're gonna go through the sewer pipes, and they're gonna blow themselves up in Times Square. So yeah, and now here's the thing. Now all the cops, they're snubbing De Blasio, and they're on strike basically,
yeah.
And the city's working fine.
Yeah.
It's doing great.
Funniest
They're not busting people's chops for doing nothing. The cops that bow down to the big guys that only break our chops aren't breaking our chops anymore, and the city's running fine. And then people say, well, Celente, since do you remember what happened back in the 70s and the mid 80s, and when the little crime in the city, and a good thing they clamped down. Hey, grow up. The reason why it stopped is because New York City is now mostly foreign. The prices of apartments are through the roof. The whole place has been gentrified. There are no more neighborhoods left. Every place is Sutton Place.
That's sad.
That's why there's no crime.
Yeah.
Because there's no people left anymore other than the very rich. And the only people they're stealing from is us. And they do it through the banks and Wall Street. So they got rid of the petty criminals, and they got the real big mafia up there on Wall Street that are robbing us. That's why crime has decreased in New York. You can't afford to buy anything there. And now people from Brooklyn can't afford to live there anymore.
No kidding. They're out.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Well,
the whole place has been gentrified.
The diversity is gone. It's homogenized.
I mean, you go to Times Square is like going to a mall. You want to go to an Applebee's? Haven't seen a Starbucks lately? Want to see a TGIF? Oh, yeah, the heart of New York City. Not the New York City I grew up in.
No. Gone.
If I never go to New York City again, it's too soon. I don't want to see another Duane Reade drugstore or a bank on every corner.
Well,
so that's why there's no crime. So now the cops are protesting. They're not writing tickets, and everything's fine.
Well, the bottom line is we don't need militarized cops in the streets. We can get along just fine, and if they were to pull the cops off the streets, with a few exceptions, everything would proceed, I think, basically just normally.
They could cut them by half.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
They could cut it by half.
They're out looking for trouble, most of them.
They're out breaking people's chops for drinking things out of a paper bag, for doing silly little things.
Yeah.
And we have to be fair, though, Jeff. Look how the cops really brought down those criminals on Wall Street, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Didn't they do a great job?
Took him
boy?
into that dirt.
Right? Look how great look how brave they are, huh?
Thank God
Look
for
at all
the
the
cops.
big guys they went after.
Oh, they just took
Aren't
him
they
apart.
tough? They're so tough, huh?
They are the
Oh,
toughest.
yeah, they go after all the big guys.
It's
the only
amazing.
people they go after is us.
That's right. They pick on the weak and the malnourished and the poor. And ultimately, let me tell you something, though. Ultimately, and this is where we really have to go. So I don't know who said it. He said, there are really no poor, only those poor in spirit. And talking about soul, talking about inner guidance and morality. And as long as you've got those or connected to them or your hands on them, you're not poor. You may be a little hungry, but you're going to get fed. Poor in spirit. That's the real plague of this country.
The country's lost its spirit.
Yeah.
There is no spirit here.
No.
What's the spirit?
No, it's the spirit. So what can the country do for me? It's Jack Kennedy taken to the extreme, the wrong way. What can America do for me? Look, they're already bitching about next year's food stamp cutback. 1 million people are going to lose their food stamps next year. God forbid they should have to get creative in life and do something. There's always opportunity, no matter how in the hell hard things get. There is always opportunity for people who want to get up off their butts and do something.
Well, again, yes and no. Yeah, I know what you're talking about, and there's a huge class of that. But then you look at the data coming out. You saw the Pew Research Center study that came out 2 weeks ago.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
The gap between the rich and the poor now is wider than it was
bigger.
during the Gilded
and
Age.
never going to go the other way again. It's only going to continue. They have succeeded.
Unless we change it.
Unless we change it. They have succeeded at this point, correct, in wiping out the middle class. It's mortally wounded and being dribbled down into the new two-tiered lower class that the controllers, wanted. And will Americans be able to wean themselves? I want to say another thing about TV. I am stunned at the magnetic pull it has on the mind. And I'm pretty smart. I'm not dumb. You and I, if we sat down and watched TV, we get sucked right into it too. They do it with colors. They do it with pacing. They do it with camera shots, camera angles. God, the laugh tracks are the most offensive thing I think television's ever invented. But it's everywhere now. Everywhere. Everything's a laugh. The big laugh. You can't lose. Anyway, and some of these commercials are being produced like they're mini motion pictures. A 60-second commercial, it looks like a preview at the movie theater. Coming attraction. It's a full-on, knock-down, shoot-'em-up, bang-bang. They got amazing commercials. So, I mean, it's not a moment that you can't easily pull yourself away. It doesn't work that way anymore. It's hard.
No, it's and that's why the propaganda through the mainstream media is so powerful.
Propaganda through the media is overwhelming. Overwhelming. You go into a room of people watching TV, and look where their eyes are. Look at the expressions on their faces, and you'll get it. They are gone. They're under control. I found this out about, 6-8 years ago. I was in a Walmart, and there was a TV up high selling tires or something, but they had all kinds of, like a channel. And I looked up, and about 3 minutes later, I found myself still looking up at it. I said, what the hell am I doing? What am I doing here? And then I started watching what they were doing, and they were keeping it. The pacing was such that you didn't want to look away because you might miss something. And it's really an art. These people are very smart about how they do this. And there's just no way to really easily get up and walk away from most of it. For most people. I can, but it does take a little effort sometimes. The colors, the pacing, the movements of the camera, and then they got that flicker. Remember when it went all high HD? Everything had to be HD. Well, there's more to HD than we know. It was all about control, mesmerizing, and pulling people into the programmable loop of that beta, alpha, theta. You're getting into deep alpha, almost theta. You're there. You're in a deep mind state. And at that state, you can no longer pass moral or any kind of psychological judgment or evaluation on what's going in. It goes right straight into your subconscious. No impediments at all. That's tough.
Yeah, no, and again, the propaganda, if anybody wants to get into a good business, that's the one to get into. You can do it cheaply. You could do it stupidly with great results. I mean, just like this whole thing that's going on now in France, and you're hearing about, all the crackdown on terrorism. I mean,
and they're cracking down on the public, folks over there.
Of course.
They're taking away more liberty and more freedom from the French people. It's the same thing we've seen here after 9/11.
That's all it is. One country after another, Australia, UK.
Yeah.
And they're playing the terror card. People, I do a lot of media, as you know, and from time to time I hear people saying, Mr. Celente, are you concerned, you're speaking out the way you do, that, there might be repercussions from the government? And I tell them, I said, listen, first time I get a threat, you're not going to hear from me anymore. I'm not going to die for this. He said, what do you mean? I said, look, every November 22nd, I said, the day comes and goes and people don't remember it. The media, it's blank in the media. The day Kennedy got assassinated.
Yeah.
So this guy in France, he was saying that, words to the effect, this is not the exact quote, that, he'd rather, live standing than die kneeling, or something to that quote. And they had warned them not to stop doing these things about the Prophet Muhammad, because blasphemy is, they don't dig it in the Muslim religion, and there's 1.6 billion of them. And of course he had, they say he had police protection. So they kept warning him not to do this, and they keep doing it more and more and more. Okay, we got 1.6 billion people, and maybe you got a number of them angry. So this isn't about free speech. You said what you wanted to say, and some people didn't like it. Just as I have to worry about Uncle Sam, you got to worry about what you're doing.
Sure.
But if something were to happen to me, they wouldn't call it terror alert because the government would do it.
Exactly.
So that's all you have over here.
Yeah.
So the shoe's on the other foot. So when you come out against the government, Jack, you're dead. Literally. As in Kennedy.
It's true.
But when you do this, they warned this guy in France to stop doing it. He kept on doing it, the company kept on doing it, and they got somebody angry. Now, let's put this all in perspective as everybody's going over the edge on saying how, this big, Islamophobia thing is spreading. 200,000 Syrians were killed in the last couple of years.
At least.
4,000 last month.
Mm-hmm.
48,000 Iraqis last year, over 1 million in total. Tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of Afghans. Libya has been destroyed. By whom? France is one of the members, along with the U.S., UK, and other countries.
Now,
so you think they have people that want to get revenge?
There's kind of about 1 billion of them. An endless supply of people ready to martyr themselves, no question. Hold on.
The lives have been destroyed.
When you kill someone's family, do you think, folks, they ever forget or forgive? No way. No way. Doesn't happen. Hold on, we have to take a break. We'll be right back with Gerald in just a couple minutes. Okay, we're back with Gerald. The Brilliant Trends research, the latest edition is out. The journal is extraordinary. I always try to I can't begin to approach what you do with the volume of stuff that comes across my desk. I put it up around the clock. Sometimes 130, 140 stories in a 24-hour period, but they're all thought out. They're all culled. I rewrite the headlines. I sequence them. I format them. Try to make them work like you do, but in micro. And you look at the headlines, and all you really have to do at Rense is read the headlines, and you'll come away with a pretty good feeling of what's happening in the world. I don't mean good feeling, but a pretty good understanding of it. It's kind of like a daily journal. French manhunt. If you just read this, you'd have it for the day. French manhunt continues for 2 suspects. Police in France swarm forest in huge Hebdo manhunt. Hebdo killers armed, trained in Syria. U.S. cartoonist in Washington State hiding now for 4 years after Islamist threat. False flags, Operation Gladio, and the Hebdo incident. France announced carrier for Gulf Day before Hebdo. It sounds kind of funny. Better rewrite that one. Parts officer shot dead the day after in Paris. There's a woman police officer who was gunned down, so the killing hasn't stopped there. Like I said earlier, this can go on anytime, anywhere, Gerald. They could do it here. Look at the racial issue already. 2 more cops were shot, 2 days ago, was it? They're going to survive. But war against police, that's not something you want to do, folks. It works both ways, and we know that. So it's like pulling strings on a puppet. Same thing.
Again, look what you just talked about. 2 guys killed 10 people. The Americans have killed over 1 million people in Iraq.
Oh no, it's more than that.
With the coalition of the willing.
Yeah.
And based on lies.
Totally.
There were no weapons of mass destruction, no ties to Al Qaeda. We are bombing Syria. We already, as I said, in last month, 4,000 Syrians were killed.
Right.
There are over 200,000 dead since 2011, and millions of them are refugees flooding into Europe. Then you look at what we did in what Obama, the Nobel Peace Prize winner, along with Hillary Clinton, Samantha Powers, and Susan Rice, did to overthrow the government of Libya. And who are the people that they armed? The same people they're arming in Syria, the same ones they armed in Iraq, that are now going into other countries.
They're called the moderate rebels.
The moderate rebels. We vetted them. We vetted them.
Yeah.
There's nothing that you can look at that Washington has done, name the agency, that has showed success. And every military adventure so far since World War II has ended in dramatic failure. Oh, by the way, I almost didn't make it tonight.
How so?
I was going to go, they're going to have a big victory parade because Obama said we won in Afghanistan. So I figured I'd go down to New York, Wall Street,
get your
where they used to have the victory parades after the wars.
Oh, yeah.
And I went down and nothing happened. No victory parades. Where are the victory parades?
He actually called for one and nobody showed up.
No, I'm just being sarcastic.
Oh, okay.
They called it a victory.
I got it.
So I figured, hey, they must be having one down on Wall Street.
13 years of killing and maiming our own and their own, and 2 million, not 2 million, at least 2 million dead in Afghanistan.
Well, then we're still there.
We're not getting out. There's a lie.
I know.
It's all a lie.
What I'm
Every damn thing
is
they tell us is a lie.
So what I'm saying is, when there's blowback, 2 people kill 10.
Yeah.
It's a reason to take everybody's rights away and call it a war on terror. But kill millions here and there, hey, what's for lunch?
Just a statistic. That's all it is. We had 2,700 dead on 9/11, and look at the mileage the controllers got out of that.
Yep.
Amazing.
And look how many they've killed in retaliation.
Amazing. Yeah, millions.
Oh,
2 to 3
you know
million.
the other phrase that I despise. They talk about Obama they all do it when they talk about we're going to bring them to justice. That means killing them.
It does. We're going to bring, boy, if somebody says we're going to bring them to justice,
well, that means you're going to kill them.
Yep.
They ain't going to bring them to justice.
No.
There won't be any trial.
Well, do the cops shoot to injure anymore?
No.
No, they shoot to kill. They don't want any courtroom appearances. They take
And then,
them out.
by the way, that all of that torture, that really made big news too, huh? Completely out of the news, the
Gone.
CIA torture.
Gone. Just like that. So easy. Remember Operation Northwoods, folks? Some of you, if you haven't read it, go read it. Operation Northwoods. It talks about how the CIA in the 1950s and early 60s was controlling the media to the extent that they bragged openly amongst themselves that any major newspaper could be forced to carry any story they wanted, written any way they wanted it, within minutes all around the U.S. That was in the 50s. They own the whole thing. No, my God, they own the whole media. They
Nothing
own
has
everything.
changed.
So,
And you know another one I'm really disgusted with is I'm sick of these politicians ending their speeches with "God bless America."
Oh, please.
And here's where I take it. Tell me the God that you believe in that approves of rectal feeding.
Or pedophilia, or God.
But I mean, really, no, here we have a government that tortures people. Tell me the God that approves of that. You know, God loves waterboarding. You know, God loves Guantanamo. Well, so stop with the God bless America. There is no God that would ever condone
what's going on here. No, doesn't happen. And by the way,
and so we begin and end it with with that. That's the end of my conversation. When people would start giving me an argument. There's
how
no
can
God
you argue with somebody like that? You can't. Why waste your breath?
No, I say stop. I say, what God would condone rectal feeding?
I think what did Dick Cheney say about that?
Maybe I think Dick Cheney likes rectal feeding because when you look at him, it looks like he's been rectal fed a lot, man. Because that's all that comes out of his mouth.
Hard to tell which end is up with that guy, frankly. Hold on just a minute. He got another heart. Can you believe that? All right, back in a flash. Don't go away. Chiropractor's office in Waterford, Michigan, decided to make a little experiment for all of its clientele. So they took a McDonald's cheeseburger and fries, along with a Taco Bell chicken taco, in the open air, right? Set it on a plate and left it there. They unwrapped it and left it there. What happened after 2 years to that food? Nothing. Dr. Jacqueline Vaughn of Vaughn Chiropractic told the Daily Mail Online on Wednesday that she hoped to make people think about what they are putting into their bodies, especially her fast food loving younger patients. She said, "There's no smell. It's basically mummified. You can pick it up, turn it over, and still see the cheese and the pickle and the burger and the lettuce and the cheese and the Taco Bell taco. Even in the summer, when we get the ants won't go near it." Get the picture, folks? Wonder why you're sick? Wonder why Americans are going to begin dying earlier than they ever have before at a median age? It's the food. It's deadly over time. I don't know how else to put it. And that preservative goes into your body along with thousands of other chemicals. So what do you think's going to happen to you? You're going to eventually begin to break down. Then you're going to go to the doctor. What are the doctors going to do? You've seen those commercials, Gerald, on TV. They're hawking pills of all kinds, 60-second commercial, and 45 seconds of it is nothing but warnings of side effects. I mean, it's really funny. It's tragically funny, but it is funny. And then
you could thank Bill Clinton for making that happen. That was not allowed on the air until he saw. That's anybody thinks why this guy gets $300,000 a talk.
A speech.
It's called payback. You think everybody's heard him BS enough for the rest of their life? This guy sold the nation out more than anybody with NAFTA. We mentioned about with drugs allowing them to advertise on TV. That was prohibited.
Yeah.
Giving away the communications spectrum to the 6 companies that own it all now, deregulating with the Federal Communications Act, killing Glass-Steagall Act.
Yeah, how about
one
giving
after another?
The Chinese our most advanced supercomputers, Loral, that great Loral satellite launch where the rocket failed and the satellite came down and our crews went over to pick it up after they could get near it and found that it had been stripped of all of its viable electronic American-made and designed and researched components before it was put on top of the rocket. It's unbelievable.
And Bill Clinton. I can't wait till Hillary comes in.
Well, and
just before we leave, Jeff, I just want to go through some economic things here.
Yeah, please.
With the oil prices, the last time I was on, you may recall, I said these things they're under a lot of pressure because this is a demand issue.
Yeah.
And has nothing to do with trying to punish Putin. It's much bigger than that. Copper, 5.5-year lows. Iron ore lost 50% in the last year.
5-0?
A ton of iron ore, rebar, reinforcement rod, in China is cheaper than a ton of cabbage.
Wow.
China consumed 40% of the copper production, and as I said, copper prices now are down at 5.5-year lows. It's one commodity after another. It's a global slowdown.
Mm-hmm.
You look at the markets in the last 2 days, why they've gone up. These are the facts, and this is what Wall Street is saying why they went up. One reason is that the Federal Reserve has announced that they're going to hold back raising interest rates. They have not raised interest rates since 2006.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're looking to 2016.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Number 2, the European Central Bank is going to dramatically initiate a quantitative easing scam.
You heard that before, folks?
And it's not going to do anything. But this is the reasons why they're giving why the markets are going up. And number 3, oil prices have stabilized.
$49 a barrel now.
Exactly. So now what we're looking at is we're looking at massive junk bond calamities ready to explode. They're already stopping drilling rigs. They're pulling them off. In Canada,
mm-hmm.
their dollar is taking a beating as well. In Venezuela, and it's not only Iran and Russia. It's also Angola, Nigeria, resource-rich countries, Australia. They are cutting way back on exports because China is in a huge slowdown. So this when they're talking about, like Obama today, saying to people, folks, don't buy those gas guzzlers, even though gas prices are going down. They're going to go back up. And he said, and spend that extra money you have. I'm not making that up.
He actually said that.
Yes, words to
so
that
that's
effect.
Let's spend our way back to prosperity.
Yeah, spend that extra money you got.
I'm sorry.
Isn't that brilliant? Isn't that great? Yeah, and you know what the extra money is so far?
What?
$750 a family over a year.
Man.
Now that's real cash. And then they came out with a study yesterday that shows that 62% of the people would be unable to meet a crisis where they had to pay $1,000 for, say, a healthcare emergency,
I agree,
or $500 to fix a car.
No, they can't. I know we have no savings.
So you got the commander-in-chief out there talking in Arizona someplace, and that's what he said. Oil prices are going to go back up, but spend the money that you have now that because of the low gas prices.
Can it be any more obvious what they're doing to this country, Gerald?
Yeah, they're raping it. Well, going back to our trends, one of the top trends is takeover. This isn't a conspiracy theory. It's with the transatlantic partnership and the Trans-Pacific Partnership, whereby about 80% of the world will be run by multinationals. It has nothing to do with trade. What it has to do, and again, they're not letting we the people read what this is about. They're only giving the corporations the right to write the laws, and Congress can't even look at it. The reason we know anything about it is because of WikiLeaks. And what it does, it gives the transnational companies, the multinationals, sovereign rights over sovereign nations, even to the point of freedom of speech. I'm not making this up. This is a fact.
It's amazing. Well, like I said, 2015, if you like 2014, you're going to love 2015.
Well, you know, on May 2nd, we're launching Occupy Peace from Colonial Kingston. Mayor Gallo has given us permission to close down the streets, the most historic four corners in the United States.
Wonderful.
And the only place where there's a stone building that predates the Revolutionary War. And what we're going to do, the program is a number of them. We're going to have takeaways. And one of them may be something that's going to be a big game changer in the 2016 elections. I'm not going to say what it is yet, but we're going to be putting more information out there. But this isn't going to be a rally where people yell and scream and nothing happens. This is a battle plan for peace. Because, as I say, I would rather fight for peace than die for war. And they're going to get us into war. You can see it happening. The next false flag attack, or real, is going to rob us of more and more of our rights. And as Mayor Gallo said, let's build communities, not nations. And what we're going to do here, we're going to honor thy founding fathers, no foreign entanglements. We're not going to kill them over there so they don't come over here. Get that? Matter of fact, Eisenhower would throw anybody out of his office if they came up with a scheme for a preventive war.
Well, we can all go back and look at his speech about the military-industrial complex, warning us that was our biggest danger. And
here we are.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, they own us. We're a corporatocracy, basically. And a lot can be said for that theory.
Well, one of the other trends is bankism. It's not capitalism. And Nomi Prinz,
bankism.
Yep, that's our term. And because four words kill capitalism. Too big to fail. This is not capitalism. It's bankism. We're controlled by the banks. And the person that's writing that for us is Nomi Prinz, who wrote that wonderful book, All the President's Bankers. And we have another piece in there by Dr. Paul Craig Roberts, The Grand Manipulation. They're manipulating the markets, and they're manipulating us into war. Other trends, nostalgia, big trend. Millennials have nothing to look forward to. Their future is bleaker than the past or the present. They're reaching back.
You're right. Yeah.
And it's going to be big.
We have. Go ahead.
If you go to our website, you can see more of it.
Trendsresearch.com. I don't honestly know how we're going to stomach the next 2 years of this political charade.
We can change it.
It's got to be changed.
Look what's going on in Europe. Look what's going on in Spain with the Podemos party. Came out of nowhere in a year, and now a third of the people are behind it. Look at UKIP in the UK. Look at what's going on in Germany with their new parties. One after another, they're overthrowing the established parties.
What happened
if they
here?
can do it, we can do it.
Yeah, okay. What happened here to the Tea Party? It was
co-opted.
Penetrated co-opted, perfect word, in a matter of months. As soon as the controllers saw that this had some real power, real clout, a true grassroots movement of American patriotism, they went right after it. So we got to watch all the time. We have to be on guard. And that's a tough one. So this is coming up May
2nd.
All right,
Colonial Kingston.
Absolutely gorgeous there, then, I'm sure. All right, my friend, thank you. Talk to you next month. Okay, thank you.
All the best.
You be well.
Bye-bye.
Night. Gerald Celente. And we will be right back with Hour 2 in just a couple minutes. Don't forget trendsresearch.com for the best.